Yo, yo, yo! What is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are taking a trip into Dreamland, or the place my production team spends most of their time. I'm sorry, guys. That was too easy. Wait, didn't you guys write the script? Anyway, we are going to focus today on pre-Dreamland, a place called Melatonin Land, which is a mystical place where the Jigglypuff lullaby is blasted through the biochemical speakers of your 5-pound mushy membrane. But before we go there just yet, we're going to focus today's real-life, present-day reality conversation on how timing both melatonin and food consumption matter when we're talking metabolic health and disease prevention, and why it's probably advantageous for your pretty cool meat suit to finish your energy consumption a few hours before bed to optimize your present day mood, feel, function, as well as long-term longevity. So today's agenda is going to look a little bit like this. First, we'll touch on melatonin and its impressive yet little known resume. Then we'll talk about its metabolic influence, why timing is a big factor, and finally, how to optimize your habits to improve your internal operations. And you know we gotta film this one in melatonin's natural habitat, right? The place most of us lie wondering why we can't fall asleep. So let's dive in. The master sleep hormone and its impressive resume. Let's start at the top. Melatonin is a hormone that is primarily released from the pineal gland, and it is best known for regulating our sleep-wake cycles, otherwise known as our circadian rhythms, which is a topic that we discuss a lot on this channel. This hormone naturally rises in a cyclical manner each and every night when our brain's master clock, a cluster of neurons right outside the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nuclei, gets intelligence from the environment, or the cue of darkness, guided by the absence of light. This area of the brain signals the pineal gland to upregulate the secretion of this hormone, which slowly lulls us off into the aforementioned dreamland. Now, this is when the system's operating efficiently, which we know isn't the case for the majority of the modern population. Thus why we have the whole How to Sleep playlist dedicated to realigning this natural cycle and improving the most restorative, regenerating part of our 24-hour day, our sleep. And little beknownst to many, modern day sleep cycle disruption is thought to be a key underlying driver in many of our modern day health woes. And to give you an idea of how many people truly struggle with sleep, over the past couple of years, melatonin supplements have been in a straight up bull market, with an estimated 3 million US adults having used some in the last 30 days. Okay, melatonin, good at sleep. Mental note taken. But what else does it do besides Sherpa us into dreamland? Well, the short answer is a lot. Although melatonin is best known for regulating our circadian rhythms, modern research has identified it as having a key role in other biological functions, including acting as a free radical scavenging molecule, promoting complex antioxidant and DNA repair systems, modulating the oh-so-important immune system, preventing things like tumor growth, and influencing our metabolism. I warned you, it's got a pretty robust and little-known resume, making the case that it's even more important than previously suspected. So just like any other key bodily system, we just can't assume our modern, taken-for-granted lifestyle is going to optimize it. We need to do our due diligence, understand its tendencies, and then put it in a position to operate efficiently. And one of the aforementioned areas that it gets extremely interesting is its impacts on our energy homeostasis, or metabolism. Melatonin's little-known metabolic influence. Listen, we don't know what we don't know. You know that. Wait, For a long while, melatonin's role on metabolic dysfunction was typically focused on how its disrupted timing caused by the plethora of environmental and lifestyle factors that we humans typically partake in could throw off our circadian master clock and thus pave the way for metabolic diseases, such as type 2 diabetes. And for the most part, this was accurate. But it's not the full story. What is much less known and talked about is the fact that melatonin receptors are also found in peripheral tissues, such as the liver, muscle, and pancreas, where it participates in glucose homeostasis and body weight regulation. Huh, you don't say. So what exactly does it do down there? Well, one thing that in vitro studies have shown it doing is stimulating the secretion of a hormone called somatostatin, which is an insulin inhibitory hormone in human pancreatic cells, basically temporarily impairing them from producing insulin, the key hormone that is responsible for regulating glucose clearance from the bloodstream, and the primary way energy gets inside our cells. In fact, placebo-controlled human experimental studies have demonstrated that acute melatonin administration worsened glucose tolerance in both younger and older women, in the morning and in the evening, suggesting that we, humans, the organism, are less efficient at maintaining proper energy homeostasis when melatonin is in the picture. And you're probably thinking, just like I was, why, oh why, would this Jigglypuff lullaby producing hormone act this way? Well, it's thought to be a protective and restorative mechanism. And here's why. When we get ready for dreamland, our body wants to send the signal of recovery and rejuvenation. And researchers hypothesize that melatonin is, in fact, one of those signals, as it has been shown to restore beta cell function in human pancreatic cells with type 2 diabetes, or those key cells that produce insulin. You know, the ones we need to survive. Yeah. Think of this as our brain's way to tell the rest of the body, the periphery, it's time to close shop for the day. And in reality, if we can do it, we want lower melatonin during the day while we're eating to optimize glucose tolerance, and higher melatonin during fasting, particularly at night, to help facilitate recovery, like the example we just reviewed with the beta cells in the pancreas. Thus, it is critical to consider the timing of your physiological melatonin cycle relative to your daily feeding fasting cycle, so you can better understand and optimize the impact that this interplay is having on your metabolic state, and why you probably want to get your bigger meals done earlier in the day, if you can. So let's take a quick walkthrough into what the data has to say on this topic, and what researchers think may be happening. Here's what we know. Research has shown that during the daytime, insulin production from the pancreas is much better than it is at night. This right here improves your body's ability to metabolize things such as carbohydrates and calories during the day, as opposed to night. Data also continues to mount, supporting the notion that blood sugar control is better in the earlier part of the days and worse as we get into the evening. Now, when we take into consideration that melatonin levels rise a few hours before our habitual bedtime, where it then begins to bind to those receptors in the pancreas and slowing down the production of insulin, the impaired metabolic function we see with late night eating begins to make a little more sense, especially when we look at the data around nocturnally feeding populations, like shift workers, or the modern day human, who suffers from something called digital jet lag, where their brain is in a totally different time zone than the one they're physically in, a concept we cover here. These populations have abnormally higher risks of metabolic dysfunction and the chronic disease that comes along with it. And one of the additional co-founding factors here could very well be the abnormal state of high melatonin that accompanies food intake in these populations. Damn. Late night snacking be doing us dirty, production team. So knowing all this, what can you do, or begin to do, when it comes to having your body operating like a well-oiled biochemical machine? Proper alignment and consistency are your best friends. Nothing new here. Building the habits that promote a proper circadian rhythm alignment, things we go over in detail in the How to Hack Your Morning and How to Hack Your Evening videos, which I'll link below, are critical. And as it pertains to meal timing, to optimize energy homeostasis and metabolic function, a good guideline to go by is to finish your last big meal of the day 3 to 4 hours before your bedtime, assuming you go to bed before midnight. If it's after midnight, or if you're a shift worker, then we have to rethink the strategy a little. And if you take exogenous melatonin supplements, try not to take them too early. Give yourself a good 2 hours of digestion time before you start popping any gummies. When you align this with consistent sleep and wake times each and every day, giving yourself an 8-hour sleep opportunity in between, you'll begin to feel and many times see the difference. Early eating has been something that I've been personally doing for the last 3 years or so, and my sleep has never been better. And we talk about my strategies and a lot of the research behind them in a lot of other videos, which I will all link below. The key, like it always is to take all of this newfound knowledge and build a routine that fits you and your lifestyle, something that is sustainable. And when you start to optimize your master recipe, sleep recipe, you'll be unlocking some of the potential that so many people on this beautiful floating rock in the middle of nowhere never experience. The superpower of waking up rejuvenated, restored, refreshed, and energized every single damn day. It can happen, but it certainly doesn't just happen. You gotta drive your own outcome. And when in doubt, just play the Jiggly lullaby and you'll be... No, production team, no. I still have to tell...